If you have young children, you know exactly what it feels like when they're constantly asking questions, constantly asking why about everything. Why do leaves fall? Why do they turn brown? Why don't they fall up? And eventually you run out of answers and you just say, well, because that's how it is. But what if I told you that those questions aren't interruptions? They are learning moments. Welcome to today's episode. I'm Edwina, and if you're a homeschooling parent or just someone who wants to create more meaningful learning experiences at home, then this episode is for you. Here's the thing about curiosity that most of us miss. We think we need elaborate activities and expensive materials or structured curricula to nurture it. But curiosity thrives in the ordinary moments. It lives in the questions that our children naturally ask when we're walking to the mailbox or preparing dinner or reading them a simple little story. Let me give you 3 practical ways that you can transform your home into a curiosity-rich learning environment. First, gotta become a professional question asker. When your child notices something, could be anything, resist the urge to immediately provide an answer. Instead, ask, what do you think? Or what do you notice? When your child points out, for example, that your dog always sniffs at the same spot every morning when you go on your walk, instead of starting to explain the scent marking, rather say, why do you think he does that? Your child is likely to come up with some fascinating theories. And more than likely, you'll be spending the next week observing and discussing animal behavior. Second, embrace the power of wondering aloud. Model curiosity by sharing your own questions. I wonder why some of those clouds are fluffy and those over there are wispy. Or I wonder what would happen if I planted these seeds in this shady spot. You're not just thinking out loud, you're showing your children that adults are learners too. Third is follow their fascinations, not your agenda. If your child becomes captivated by how water moves down the drain pipe, that's your science lesson. If they're intrigued by why some words sound similar, that's your language arts moment. The most powerful learning happens when you build on what is naturally captivating your children's attention. Now, I know that some of you might be thinking, well, this sounds great, Edwina, but this is theory. How do I actually do this without feeling forced or without feeling overwhelmed or like sounding like a teacher? And that's exactly why I created something called the Curiosity Bundle. It's completely free. Here's what you get. You get an e-guide called How to Nurture Curiosity Naturally. It walks you through exactly how to recognize and respond to those curiosity moments in your everyday life. I use a simple example of going on a walk because that's something that everyone does. No complicated setup needed, no special materials, just practical strategies that you can start using today. And here's the most exciting part as well. I've included a complete little lesson plan that goes with the picture book, I Went Walking by Sue Williams. Now you might think, but that's just a simple book about a child taking a walk. Well, exactly. That's the beauty of it. The lesson plan shows you exactly how something as ordinary as going for a walk, whether it's around your backyard, through your neighborhood, to the park, or even a trip to the zoo, becomes a rich learning experience. Whenever you go anywhere, you're exploring observation skills, animal sounds, patterns, colors, movement, and so much more. That's why it's imperative that children should be on iPads in cars. Your children won't even realize they're doing learning because they'll be too busy discovering and observing. The e-guide and the lesson plan work together to show you just how easily you can create curiosity-inspired learning from the most ordinary moments. No pressure, no performance, just real learning that happens naturally. To get your free curiosity bundle, just head to go.bloomingcurious.com // Spark Curiosity and download it today. I'll leave a link for you in the show notes so you can get it there. Remember, you don't need to be a trained educator to nurture curiosity at home. You just need to pay attention to what your children are already wondering about and give them the space to explore those questions. The next time your child asks why for the 5th time or the 100th time, take a deep breath and remember, you're not dealing with an interruption. You're witnessing the very foundation of lifelong learning. I'll see you again next week. Thanks for listening. I'll see you again next week. And until then, take care of yourself and stay blooming curious.